go. All right. Good morning or good afternoon, community. It is such an honor in this festive, in this solstice, in this eclipse month to gather together with the intention to explore and commune with the sacred use of our essential oils, with the subtle nature of the essential oils. And this is, if this is your first time here, Dana Schwartz and David, Team Corazon, as well as our team Harmonious Essentials, we team up every single Saturday to offer continuing education. Same time, same Zoom, generally a half an hour. Sometimes we go a little over, and we explore all these different topics from hormone health to skincare to sleep and stress. But today, this is one of our special classes where we're initiating the process of how essential oils can be a companion for those of us that are walking a spiritual path. And maybe we're just beginning our spiritual path. But these elementals and these plants have been with us since the beginning of our existence. And so we're going to be exploring that today. And also, I want to introduce Christyn Hall. For those who have not met her yet, Christyn Hall is going to be co-teaching this class today. She's also been the one that created all of the beauty on these slides that are extraordinarily inspiring. She's a solar artist, meaning that she's inspired. She lives her life really inspired by the divine within her. It comes through everything that she does. And so I'm really honored to be teaching this class with her today. And yeah, so I think I'm going to just go ahead and pass it over to you to lead us, Christyn, with our little opening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you always for your beautiful and harmonious invitations that you start with. Welcome, everybody. I am so honored and so pleased to be sharing on this topic, which is so dear to my heart. And I thought that we would start by just doing a really beautiful heart-centering meditation. And so if you have your frankincense and your rose, we're going to use that. And if you don't have those, any oils that you intuitively feel called to, your two favorite oils. And what we're going to do, we're going to start with the frankincense because we're going to be anointing the crown of our head and then our heart. So we're going to use the frankincense on the crown of our head. So you can just take a drop. In fact, sometimes I even just put my finger over it and I just flip the bottle and I get a little bit of frankincense on my finger. And you're going to take it and put it right into the top of your head, the crown chakra. And just give a little bit of gentle pressure and rub it in and just let it absorb into your that beautiful opening at the top of your head. And take a breath and just let that sink in. And then you're going to take your rose. There we go. And you're going to, probably most of us have the rose touch. I've put mine into a little mini bottle. So you're going to take your rose and you're going to anoint your heart chakra and just put a little bit right in the center of your chest. And again, just a nice gentle pressure or rub it in and just feel it working its way into that beautiful part of your body. Okay, so frankincense and rose, one to call in and honor the father and the other to call in and honor the mother. And I'm going to invite everyone to just close your eyes and get really comfortable with your spine as straight as is comfortable for you. And excuse me, we're just going to start by taking 3 deep breaths. Inhaling fully and exhaling fully, and just really reveling in the beauty and bounty of the oxygen that we can breathe in. And as you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to start to feel into your heart, your physical heart that's beating there in the center of your chest. That rhythmic pulse that brings life into your body. And as you can feel that pulse, that beating of your heart, that physical heart, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to use our creative imagination and just go into the center of our heart, the heart of our heart. And just be in that space inside of us. And I want us to imagine a bright, beautiful, healing light that radiates from the center of this altar of our heart. And in the center of that light, there are two beautiful beings. One is the divine masculine and one is the divine feminine. They truly are a part of us. These are our intimate masculine and feminine energies. And they're radiating love and light out towards us. And they're inviting us to really be present in our hearts today as we listen to this beautiful information, as we listen to what our oils have to say to us. And we can just say a really brief prayer to that beautiful divine feminine and divine masculine, just thanking them for leading us from our heart. And when you're ready, you can take another deep breath and just slowly make your way back into the Zoom room. And the invitation for everybody at any point, if you want to share in the chat, we love the dialogue. If you have questions or reflections, it's so welcome here. So please utilize that and we can share and learn together. So we're diving in. Welcome. Ancient cultures have always used these beautiful and sacred medicines as a part of their healing modalities. I love this picture. This is Mary Magdalene. But there are so many elegant healers from the past that we can learn from, people like Paracelsus and Hippocrates, these fathers of medicine, the master Huiracocha and shamanism and all of these beautiful ancient religions. And they really invite us into the world of health and healing that is in complete harmony with both ourselves and with nature, the spirit of nature. And of course, this comes through our work with these natural medicines that we have, these beautiful oils. But it's also a relationship that we have with the deepest part of ourselves, which we might call the healer within us, right? And so if you guys want to take notes today, we're going to be covering quite a few creative ideas. Please do that. And I'm going to pass off the slide to Avasa.
Yes, thank you, Christyn. So, and as she was just initiating us into a connection with ourselves, really the work with these plants and these essences we're inviting us each to connect with our innermost being, our own inner healer, to be that guide. And while we're going to be offering some creative options and really we're going to be both exploring the historical use of the essential oils and as well the practical use, like how can we actually bring them into our day-to-day life. Our invitation for you is to really follow your own guidance. And one way obviously that we can follow our guidance is through our own intuition. Which plant am I being called to? Simply smelling the bottles and just seeing what, for me, for example, I notice that when I breathe in the tree resins, it just triggers this deep relaxation and connection with my being. For you, it might be a floral or a citrus at a different moment. But also, I do want to also offer a suggestion as well. There's this amazing reference guide called the Essential Emotions. And they're not saying anything like spiritual, sacred on the top of this cover. They're just talking about it from an emotional place. It's titled Essential Emotions. However, when you actually crack open these pages, they're exploring all the dimensions, and you can cross-reference actually a lot of their suggestions with some historical references to essential oils and plants that were used by alchemists throughout the Middle Ages. And so this is a very comprehensive guide. And oftentimes, one way that I like to actually be guided sometimes through my processes when I'm going through a process is I'll just even close my eyes and say a little prayer to my being, to divinity, to, okay, what could I use to support myself? And I'll just see what page I open to. And for example, the other day I opened up to the oil Manuka, and I noticed Dana shared yesterday how she was using Manuka, and it shares how Manuka is the oil of being upheld by the divine. And then they go into an explanation of that. So this is a really great reference. It's also in an app form that you can utilize. Okay.
Fine. Okay, let's look at just a few of the historical or spiritual references that we have from some of the sacred texts from around the world. So here from the Judeo-Christian tradition, we hear a lot about myrrh and frankincense, and from our new ancient oils collection, cistus and hyssop. So frankincense, as a lot of us probably know, is the oil of truth. It connects us to feelings of enlightenment, illumination, of being protected by the Father, of discernment and wisdom. And it can actually help us through a process of connecting to, or even resolving, if we have tension or if we need to build a relationship with both our biological father and also in turn our spiritual father. So that's medicine that helps us connect. That's why we put it on the crown chakra, to have that beautiful fatherly energy that comes down from above. And then myrrh. I'm actually drinking myrrh in my tea this morning because, as Dana mentioned, I think last class, if you have a little tickle or something that's happening in your throat, you can drink myrrh, and it really works to soothe that whole area. Myrrh, as we know, is the oil of Mother Earth, of feeling safe in the world, of trusting the goodness in life, of being bonded, and even I think that connection with Gaia and Mother Nature in general, right? And if we need to heal or work on any relationship with either biological mom or spiritual mother, that's a wonderful oil to utilize too. And cistus, it is quickly becoming one of my favorites. It is referenced in the Judeo-Christian tradition as the rose of Sharon, and it's truly considered a beloved plant, wonderful for trauma work. They say it can bring about feelings of euphoria. And it's one of the 5 plants in the rescue remedy of the Bach flower remedy. So that gives us a wonderful insight into how we could use it in our life.
Yeah, I just wanted to reference, this is another painting of Mary Magdalene. Yeah, or she's really a representation of this lineage of priestesses that also were like masters of medicine. And of course, they carried with them at all times their beautiful little wooden boxes or their little vases of essential oils. And you can see, similar to how these days in our our classes, when we're saying use the oils on your children's feet, yeah, well, here's this subtle and more profound dimension of utilizing oils on the feet, not only for the physical body, but also for our spiritual processes. Okay, so also if we travel through history, through into the Egyptian history, the Persian, the Islamic, and also to understand these are the most ancient trade routes of our humanity that are recorded. I mean, the frankincense tree alone is like a 6 million year old tree. Yeah. But we have records. So it's the wisdom of that tree is extraordinary, but we have records of it, the frankincense, the myrrh, jasmine, rose, blue lotus as well, how these were very, very highly sought, traded resins and extracts for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Christyn did a wonderful job talking about myrrh and its use. Obviously, it was brought to also Jesus, right? It was part of what the Egyptians would utilize for embalming. It also carried on into the Judeo-Christian tradition. It's what they would utilize to anoint those that passed away. Myrrh is incredible for skincare, right? It's a great preserver. But obviously it's going to preserve on other dimensions as well, other levels. I want to skip to blue lotus for a moment. Blue lotus is just such a special oil. And it's also often known as like the water lily or the blue lily. And this in Egypt has been specifically utilized, and we'll talk about the chakras in a moment, but utilized for the third eye, for practices like lucid dreaming, or they would utilize, we could say, for astral projection. It actually is beautiful. It floats on top of the water, and that's where it grows. It's on top of the water. So you can see its connection with the water element, the more subtle lucid dream worlds. Let's see what else. Galbanum. So galbanum was what was used, for example, in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Galbanum, along with frankincense and myrrh, would be to utilize for our bodies, for the temples to purify, to cleanse. So we see in shamanism, and also it's like for us to see these similarities throughout all the sacred traditions. If you go to the shamans of Peru, how they're utilizing these plants to purify, to like how we use sage to detox your environment, to rid negative energies from the environment. It was also the same for the Judeo-Christians, so and also for the Egyptians. So galbanum is one of the oils. It's bitter, similar to myrrh. Myrrh is also a good one. The oils that tend to be a little bit more bitter, a little more strong, maybe even, are really great ones to purify the negative energies. And then the oils like jasmine, rose, frankincense, they really then invoke, once you've cleared the space, they're then invoking the sort of energetic aid, the higher dimension, that they're helping expand the consciousness, the rose helping expand and open our heart. But it's known, from Cleopatra to Queen Hatshepsut, I mean, they were bathing in these oils. They were using it as part of their skincare. They were, there's the record of how Queen Hatshepsut, it has it written, how she was, ordering all these people to transplant like hundreds and hundreds of myrrh trees, trying to get them into Egypt, where she was living. So yes, a really big part of Egyptian history.
And then we move into more of the Oriental wisdom keepers of Southeast Asian tradition, Tibetan tradition, and the Hindustan religions. And they really speak reverently of certain oils like sandalwood, right? And I know from doTERRA, we actually have two lineages of sandalwood. We have one from India and one from Hawaii. So sandalwood is known as the oil of devotion, right? Everything about sandalwood brings us back to this idea of being in bhakti, which is like just being in love with the divine, or being in love with the process of walking the spiritual path. And so sandalwood is used as this, it could be considered like a cleansing or a purifying, amplifying oil. And with sandalwood, I also love to put it, like the blue lotus, I love putting it just over my third eye here between my eyebrows before a meditation, or before I enter into that state where I'm trying to be in union with the higher power. And then cardamom, I mean, I just love cardamom. It's in my chai right now. I think it's really wonderful for anything respiratory. I will rub it right over my lungs for respiratory support. And then of course I walk around smelling like chai all day long, which I love. But it's also spoken of and used to sweeten and purify the breath before certain spiritual rites and rituals. So it really, again, it draws our attention back to the idea of these oils can be used for us to really cleanse and even energetically cleanse, like get ourselves into a space where we've done a ritual on ourselves, and therefore we might feel more in connection with divine. We might feel more reverent. We might actually feel more sanctity moving into our life. And I love that, that this can be so practical. This isn't something that's necessarily just for the monks of Tibet. This is for us in our daily life to walk forward in such a beautiful way. And the rose and the jasmine too, I just want to point out, I love using these oils to really foster my own process with understanding the sacredness of sexuality, right? The florals in general can help us through this process of understanding our own relationship with sexuality, connecting it to feeling sacred, divine, devoted, and just really the beauty that we can seek within this energy, this sacred sexual energy. And so rose and jasmine especially are wonderful tools for us to utilize in that relationship.
Thank you for mentioning that, Christyn. Okay, body, mind, soul, spirit. So for us that are walking a spiritual path and wanting to have support for ourselves on the spiritual path, this is the process we're waking up to, yeah, is that we're not just the physical body. We're not just the mind. We also have a soul to cultivate. We also have this, infinite, eternal spirit within us, yeah? And also that our dis-ease, our illnesses in life aren't necessarily just because of physical circumstances. They can also be a ripple effect that's rooted in a spiritual dis-ease or lack of harmony on a spiritual level. And this is again where the essential oils are so extraordinary, because they also, just like they have this physical body, like all life, they also have an energetic and a spirit. There is a soul of the plant as well. So we're able to commune with it on this level. Also, I just want to quickly mention as well, and Alexandra, she's on the call here. She did a great post the other day sharing about the vibration and the frequency of everything. And everything has vibration, everything has frequency. And actually they have measured, physics has measured that dis-ease has a frequency. Everything has a frequency. Our bodies have a frequency. When we're healthy, or a positive thought has a frequency, a negative thought or a dis-ease has a frequency. So also the essential oils have a frequency. Plants have a frequency. For example, rose has the very highest frequency of 320 hertz. I'm sure there's another way they say it, but I think hertz is my abbreviated layman terms. Or helichrysum or frankincense, these are like 181 to 147. And I should have written down, I think maybe Alex, you can type it in the chat. Like our physical body generally is around, 80 or 90 something. And then I think disease, like I know she was mentioning, like if you microwave something, it actually goes to a 0 frequency, just to give you some perspective. So also these essential oils are raising our vibe. They're raising our vibration, our frequency, and calling in other higher vibrations as well, which is beautiful.
All right, I love this quote from Paracelsus. He says, "The art of healing comes from nature, not from the physician. Therefore, the physician must start from nature with an open mind." How beautiful. We could say that we have a couple mottos within doTERRA. One might be that we're looking to create a healer in every home. Another might be that we're looking to really make a relationship with the healer within. And I would say we're partial to taking responsibility for our own health and well-being, both for within our home and within our bodies, right? So what can we do to work with nature, to seek and unlock the remedies that are contained there? If we're going to be a healer in our own home, how can we work practically with these beautiful spirits of nature? We have some answers, some ideas.
So I actually have something blocking so I'm going to get rid of that so I can see. So we have a term called elemental therapy. That's an alchemist terminology, that plants, again, are the physical bodies of the elemental creatures of nature. So there's, again, we could continue just sort of slab dab, throwing these oils around very mechanically, and they're still going to have an amazing, impact in your family's home. But we can slow down and have a deeper connection with these elemental living beings that are inside of these beautiful, beautiful bottles.
How sweet is that? So we've put together sort of some historical or some creatures from folklore and myth that a lot of us probably connected to when we were a kid, and maybe a lot of us still connect to. And these are considered the spirits of these elementals, things like fairies and gnomes and mermaids. They actually, we see them maybe now as imaginary, but they came from somewhere. These ideas that cross the cultural boundaries throughout the world, they came from somewhere. So I love using my creative imagination to really, in a way, speak to these mythical creatures, right? We can imagine that they're there behind the plants, in the forest, in the spaces where these beautiful plants grow. And that's the idea of these elementals, or these bodies or spirits of the plants. I'd love to hear in the chat, actually, who has the favorite, who loves fairies, who loves gnomes, who loves mermaids. Emilia, you're a mermaid, that's for sure.
Yeah, and maybe in India they would also refer to them as devas as well. So the devas, of these plants, and there'd be queen devas that looks over the whole region of a certain forest part. It's beautiful. Here's a woman that actually many of us on this call have had a connection with. Her name is Doña Maria Paza Machaca. She's an example of someone. She comes from the indigenous Peruvian lineage. She's an Alta Misayoc, meaning that she's a high Indian priestess. She has the highest level, and she's actually the only one existing right now at this high level. What this means, literally, Alta Misayoc, means that she has a command of the elements. So she's an example of someone. And when we've walked with her and spoke with her, and many of us have walked the lands of Peru with her, and she'll say, all of us have a connect. Mother Nature talks to all of us. And she refers to Mother Nature as Pachamama. And she says, Pachamama speaks to all of us. It's all of our mothers. Just to me, she speaks really loudly. Like the mountain spirits or the floral spirit, they really call out to her, and she also can command them or invoke them. And you'll notice whenever we would pass, she loved our doTERRA oils. Whenever we'd pass her a bottle, I mean, she first is just giving thanks. So we'll talk about that too, of how we can begin that sacred relationship with these plants.
Yeah, how beautiful. And we can start really so simply. And I think a lot of us, or even all of us, already do this, where we just start by being present with our oil, maybe even just present with the idea of the oil that we're in the mood for. That intuition has called us towards an oil. And we could start to imagine that that oil has actually chosen us for a reason, right? It's called to us. So being present with them, smelling them, and sitting with them, giving them a blessing and a prayer of gratitude. And I've come to learn that praying is just speaking in very simple language, saying thank you or asking for information. But even, we can go one step further. We know if we're using rose, we could gratefully appeal to that deva of that plant and just say, please help me. Please show me your wisdom. Show me how I need to use or give me, please, your insights, right? And that's just a really simple, beautiful way of asking that healing from that plant to come into our lives and bless us in return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of one of those, a movie or documentary, maybe some of you also watched. I think it's called Ancient Secrets of Essential Oils. It was like one of the documentaries that released a couple years ago. And the man in there who studied the physics of them, he said there's like 1,000 possibilities with a bottle of essential oil because of all the compounds. They're so complex. They can do so much for us. So we, through the power of connecting and actually asking for what we need, to lead with that, like, please, can you help me clear this, issue, or open up this, I'm having a hard time dealing. Help me open up and see more clearly. So that's beautiful. Thanks, Christyn. And then also, like we shared before, these are, that these plants aren't going to necessarily do our spiritual work for us. Yeah, but they are going to be preparing the space. So it's why even therapists can use this in the environment when they're working with their therapists, or why the ancient medics always had frankincense perfuming their rooms, always, is because they prepare the space. They open up the space for the deeper healing to occur. So in the outer physical world, you can wash your altar. If you have an altar in your home, you can wash it with perfumed, soaps, like with rose. You can add thyme in there, frankincense, any of the galbanum, any of the oils that are calling to you, any oil you have. And then also to prepare your temple, for your inner work, your inner temple work, you can utilize that ancient practice of Abhyanga. Abhyanga comes from Ayurveda. It means to give yourself a body oil massage. We could also call that aromatic dressing, getting dressed aromatically, and take some of our doTERRA fractionated coconut oil or any kind of carrier oil of your choice, and again, ask and connect with the elemental of that bottle. Put in those few drops of frankincense and rose and myrrh or whatever you're calling to you, and really anoint your whole body, cleanse your whole body.
So beautiful. So we have just some really, just some examples of ways that we could anoint ourselves. And anointing is this gentle application of an oil at a sacred or energetic location of our body. So our chakras, for example, the 7 chakras that we have, you can see lined up in this being's body. These are really beautiful, concentrated, energetic centers within us. And dare I say, they have lots of information for us if we learn to connect in. So we can use our beautiful oils to anoint ourselves on all of the chakras, or one of the chakra, or whichever area you feel you would like healing or connection with, and just utilize it as a way to deepen into that connection with yourself, with ourselves. Right? So some ideas, we just threw out some ideas of some of the oils that have maybe traditionally or energetically work with these specific chakras. So at the very top of the head, the crown, which we put frankincense on, in the East, this is called Sahasrara. So we can use either Melissa, the oil of light, or frankincense, the oil of truth, on that chakra. Or the invitation to is always whatever oil you intuitively feel called to put. Please trust that calling. So these are just suggestions. And for Ajna, the third eye chakra right here between the eyebrows, it's connected with I want to say the pineal gland. It's either the pituitary or the pineal gland. So blue lotus or sandalwood, right? To really activate or get in touch with that energetic center. Vishuddha here is at our throat. And I just know, and you guys can put in the chat, how many of us, maybe even especially as women, sometimes feel like our throat chakra is closed. We have had trouble speaking our truth. Or even conversely, if we've used that chakra to say mean things or in a way that we feel ashamed afterwards, right? We might need some healing in that area. So we could use spearmint, the oil of, I think it's confident speech, or cardamom, like they were suggesting from the Orient, to really cleanse and purify that area. Anahata, our beautiful heart center. Rose, of course, the Queen Deva, we can always use rose, or cistus, which is also known as rock rose, right? It's this connecting, beautiful, deep, sweet oil that we can utilize. Manipura is our solar plexus. And many of us feel things in this area before we're even aware that we're feeling. We might feel terror, or we might feel like jubilation kind of coming from the center. It's very sensitive. So we can use ginger. I want to say even bergamot, the oil of self-worth, and or neroli over that area. Swadhisthana, this has to do with our sacred sexual organs. So in women, that's our ovaries, and men, that's our testicles. And this whole chakra area is illuminated with this creative energy. And if we want to work with that, or if we want healing there, we could use myrrh, the oil of the mother, or we could use jasmine, which I believe is called the oil of sexual harmony, something like that. So it's really deeply supportive to that process. And then Manipura is considered our root chakra, and it's located right at the base of our spine. But we could even put these, to work with that chakra, you could even put things on the bottom of your feet, right? It's like very grounding base kind of root chakra. And so galbanum, I don't know, any of you who've smelled galbanum, it's just like, poof, it puts you right in the ground. Or balance oil, or any tree oil, like Avasa was saying.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Do you actually, Christyn, want to share this one?
Yes.
For our Canadians.
I know this is a special that's available for Canadians only, because we still have access to this beautiful precious petals collection in Canada. I know in the States it's no longer available, but Canadians, here's an example of a beautiful loyalty rewards order. And for those of you who are brand new, this is like a monthly wellness box that is an option for you if you want to redirect any of your spending that you've been spending on other things. doTERRA has this beautiful monthly box you can put together. It's completely customizable, always editable. You never have to spend, you're never locked into spending. So if you want more information about that, please contact the person who is your oil mama, your upline, and they can give you a really good rundown of that. But here's one example of putting together a loyalty rewards order in Canada. We could put the Precious Petals collection, which is rose, jasmine, neroli, magnolia, and blue lotus. It's the only place where you can get blue lotus. And if you wanted to add myrrh and cardamom, what this equals is 130 PV, which stands for points volume. Every oil comes with points. So it's 130 PV and $190 Canadian. And if you process this loyalty rewards order before the 15th of the month, you're also going to get the free oil of the month. And we never know what it is. So if you wanted to put this through for your loyalty rewards order in January and you processed it before the 15th of January, you get a free oil. And then you get all of these beautiful sacred oils with it as well. And if I am your oil mama, I'm here to help you figure this out. So you can just contact me. And we have one more example.
Yes, yes. And those of us that are either Canadian or in the US, we still can get the ancient oils collection. I am blown away that it's not sold out yet, but this is still available. And this is going to be maybe the only time you have access to oils like cistus and galbanum and common myrtle that's been in my bathtub every night. And again, an option, if you're really wanting to look at exploring the oils we spoke about today, you can add jasmine or rose. And this month, we have the free frankincense promotion. Yeah. And you know what's also, I've just found out, if you haven't yet placed the 200 PV order yet, but maybe let's say you placed 100 PV order this month. Yeah. doTERRA actually is offering from now through the end of the month a promo code and you can write into them if you'll get an email from them. But if you haven't yet gotten an email from them with this promo code, we can write into them and get you a promo code where you could even just place the other additional 100 that you were missing so that your total purchase volume this month is 200 and you'll get a free frankincense. So we only do the free frankincense once per year, this beautiful special gift of the kings and queens. So this is an example. And again, like Christyn shared, you're earning also all of these reward points so that in January, you can buy some free, supportive products for your life and for your family. So yes, my friends, I think that's it. I am so excited. The chat, I love that the chat was flowing. I don't know if Cesare wants to, if you're still with us, if you want to add anything, if anybody else wants to share anything. This is obviously a huge volume of history and exploration that we could continue exploring. Oh, diffusing galbanum. Nice, Amy. Where can we find the documentary? Not sure. Ancient Secrets of Essential Oils, I think. Maybe it'd be like a Google. I know, you guys, check out Christyn M. Hall on Instagram. Her artwork is beautiful. Some of her artwork was part of the presentation. So you follow her. She does the most beautiful everything.
I agree. I second that. And I didn't see any questions, ladies. That was such a great call. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I feel so dropped in.
Good.
Yeah. But if there